Guys, welcome back. I think Loki's trying to drive me completely insane. We have both agreed that Odin is not a good god for me, that as many times as we try to work together, in the end, Odin cannot help his divine nature. He will bend everything to Odin's advantage, and he won't play fair, and he won't care if you get hurt in the end. I'm not trying to scare you, but you do have to be aware that once you start dealing with Odin, the old man's always going to make sure it turns out in Odin's favor every time. If you get something at the same time, that's great, but he really doesn't seem overly concerned, and he only remembers gift for gift when it works out in his favor. So I had kind of tried to give him a sending off. I said, look, we don't work together. I've asked you for some stuff in the past, and you've never come through. I said, I don't think you want to work with me. I said, I think you're staying around because you get free food. He gets free offerings and everything. I said, I love you and I respect you, but we do not work well. I said, when I start working with you, you tend to bring out all the negative traits in me. And he agreed. And I could vaguely feel his presence, but I could feel he was decamping. And Loki's with me, and I said, I don't trust him. He goes, why? I said, if Odin agrees, that just means he's switching position. I said, he's just decamping far enough back that he can attack from another point. I said, I know your brother, he never gives up. He goes, yeah, I know. So we're like waiting almost for an attack. I'm like, watch the house fall in or something. But nothing exciting happens. And, we have been talking about how he's not a good fit for me, because I said, I don't like the kind of person I become when I work with your brother. I really don't. I said, your brother doesn't course correct. In fact, he encourages it. And look, he's like, I know. And I went on Facebook, and we're going somewhere with this, and the group had posted something else. And it was funny because they said, we know people say we're posting too much gay positive stuff. So here's a thing, two gods in a Valkyrie. And I'm like, what? And it's that meme about boy, girl, mischief. And then someone goes, oh yes, the three genders, boy, girl, mischief. And it's that Loki, Thor, and Valkyrie thing. So, I was like, oh, then this group really is cool. They're not using Gay Pride Month for bullshit. And of course I had to look at the comments, because I like to know I'm safe in a group, and somebody had to say Marvel's not heathenry. And I thought, why is there always at least a couple in every group? You've got the gay intolerant person, and now you've got the Marvel intolerant person. So I was like, you know what? Unfollow. I unfollowed all the heathenry groups, and I said to Odin, I said, that is a sign. That's exactly what I don't want to become. I don't want to have a stick up my ass. I don't want to become one of those people that hates Marvel. I said I don't want to become one of those people that's like, what am I going to do? Start hating myself? Because I am gay. So I said, no. I said, you can take the Odin show and please leave. And I was polite and respectful about it. And he's like, very well, my dear. And of course, that's when, like, wolf puppies caught in the rain, I'm not making this up, came up in my feet, and I'm like, oh god. Like, these little wolf puppies are caught in the rain, they're like, Daddy is raining on me. And I'm like, well, go inside, stupid. And I had this weird bird encounter in my yard. And I've noticed the birds are looking really strange, and I keep trying to look up Norse god of birds, or Norse goddess of birds, and of course there's only one god associated with birds. And just to confuse matters, Loki's story came up that I've seen before. Somebody vaguely connected Loki to Blue Jays, and it was really a stretch, because he said the character of Blue Jay is like Loki in Norse mythology, and I'm like, here come the normies looking at our mythology. Have you ever worked with either one? Of course not. It was just, I don't think the guy did it to be disrespectful, but I've noticed a trend in normies to, like, pick up the Norse gods because they're cool and they're hipsters now. So yeah, so that happened. And I'm like, this is it too. And I did go looking, I don't know why, because I was like, I've had enough of Odin. I went looking up an Odin story. And this woman had to have the shittiest day at a pagan meet ever. And they decide that it was obviously the calling of the Norse gods. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Sometimes you have to use logic, and it was one of those places where people claim the gods speak through them, and you guys know I've warned you about that. If you want to believe in it, fine, but do be aware that some people will turn stuff to their advantage. And I'm like, I don't like this because it sounds like what I've told you guys, white people voodoo. They saw a bunch of voodoo articles and experiences, and they applied it to the Norse gods, and that is a very dangerous road to walk down, especially with gods like Loki and Odin, because if you let them do something, they won't stop doing it. It's really hard to get them to stop doing something. It's why you're told that if you're scared of Odin or scared of Loki, not to work with them. Sometimes there are exceptions, like if they show up and they will not leave, but other than that, if you're still at the big bad scary Odin stage, you shouldn't work with them. And Odin, of course, had shown back up, and he's like, well, what do you make of that story, my dear? I said, well, sometimes an accident's an accident. Everything's not a calling from the gods. I said, I have trouble with my discernment myself. I said, I can't get excited about every time something happens. I said, plenty of stuff lined up today where it was eerie. Like I was watching this thing on airplanes and an airplane flew over, and I was doing this other stuff and other stuff happened, and it was like the timing was perfect and I was right where I belong. I said that could be a sign, or it could just be, random chance. I said I usually don't believe in coincidence, but it does happen. And he was still trying to work his way back in because he knew he had been asked to leave. And he said, well, what if I give you all this stuff, like all these healings and everything? I said, tell you what, I will get the VR back out, and if I can play that without paying, and you give me all this other stuff, and it happens in a fairly quick window, I said, then you can come back in, you will be welcomed and glorified. Well, I had, for some strange reason, made Blue Jays anyways. And I go into VR, and it hurts. It hurts. Of course it hurt. So he didn't fulfill that. He didn't fulfill anything else. And he's like, okay, I didn't give you anything you asked for. I didn't give you anything I agreed to. We're parting ways. And I'm like, I think it's for the best. I am soft-hearted, but I'm like, he and I, when we work together, I go down paths I don't like. And of course, I hadn't been in VR for like what, a day, 2 days? And that really hurts. And they have all this gay pride stuff up. And it was amazing. As a gay person that was used to hiding and not telling people, and even now I have to hide in this area and not tell people, so of course I have a channel. It was really moving. All this great gay pride stuff, like rainbows and a gay pride unicorn and all this other stuff. I was like, oh my god, it's like they looked at all my VR halls and they just made all this stuff. They gave us flags, they gave us transgender flags. It was like really sweet. Obviously they couldn't do everything, but then there was like purple wall paint. I'm like, well, we know the lesbians are gonna be happy. This is awesome. So they tried to do as much as they could to make everybody feel safe, and they had emotion time. They had these pink neon signs of it's a triangle that means, you're safe here, you'll be accepted, and you'll be protected. And I'm like, okay, so Odin's like, you are putting some of this up in the first hall. And of course I expected Loki, and Loki wanted it. He has his trans flag and his pride flag and a whole bunch of other stuff. And then all the Norse gods actually wanted whatever they wanted out of the stockpile. Every single god that I, have a haul for stepped up and was like, I want. You give me a pride flag and you give me one of those signs. Why wouldn't I want the people that are gay that work with me to feel loved and accepted? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've made all the gods up at this point, because a story that Odin asked me what I thought about, it made the gods look terrifying. and savage, and I'm not saying that you couldn't ever encounter an aspect like that, but I'm like, those would not be the kind of gods saying, oh, I want one of those triangles, and I want that pride flag, and I want that trans flag. Oh my god, a gay unicorn. Can I have one, please? I'm like, these are totally two different groups of gods. So I'm like, I must have made them all up at this point. And it was one of those things. I'm like, is my discernment totally off? Because, here I am decorating 12 halls with gay pride stuff and having all the gods saying, it's important you feel loved. And Yord was after me. He's like, do you think we don't know you're gay? Do you think you just hide it really well because you don't mention it every 5 minutes? Is this something you think that the rest of us don't know about? That it's a secret between you and Loki and maybe Thor? You think we don't know? And it was touching, but at the same time, as a gay person, with the experience I had today, for example, in the, excuse me, in the groups of, you can see they have intolerant members, that they're just looking for an excuse to push gay people out, or they're looking for an excuse to push people that don't agree with everything they say, like they don't like Marvel or something. So I left both groups, and I didn't say a damn thing, and neither group was like, oh dear, somebody left, we're so sad. I had loved and shared the Loki thing so that they kind of knew it was like, it's not you, it's the people in your group. I don't feel safe and I don't feel protected. The last thing I want as a gay person or as a Lokean or somebody that likes Marvel is a stalker. So I was like, yeah, I'm leaving. I don't feel safe in your groups. And that was really unfortunate. And as a gay person, since this is timely, I might as well bring it up. If you're going to make a safe space for gay people, you can't make a safe space for gay people and then allow people to say homophobic stuff. That's not a safe space. That is not, just saying gay people are allowed to come into your establishment is not enough. We have to feel safe. We don't want to hear homophobic slurs. We don't want to hear intolerance. We don't want to hear people saying, well, that's disgusting or something. And if that is too much for you to do, if you believe in freedom of speech, honey, do not put up anything that says you're inclusive, because you're not. You want customers is basically all you want. We're not dumb. We know the difference. And I was like, you're flying the flag because it's Pride Month and you want gay people to come, but you really don't give two shits about us, because if people want to be intolerant, you'll let them be intolerant. Is this like a game to you? Is this like the straight person game? Once a year you put all the inclusive stuff up and see if gay people are dumb enough to fall for it, and yet you let homophobic rants go on. So I was like, yeah. And it doesn't take much for gay people to go, oh no, fuck this. It takes one remark. It takes one look or something else. It took me probably at least 6 months to go back to that gas station because some guy was going on a homophobic rant about he doesn't want his niece or something mistaken for one of those people, and that's so wrong, and rah 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 rah. Well, now they have a gay worker up there, like flamboyantly gay, and I think she might be one of the managers, and I feel safe now, but I didn't feel safe then because this son of a bitch was big, and I'm like, oh god, people always at least take me for a lesbian. Is he gonna beat the shit out of me? I didn't feel safe. So, it's food for thought. I think the gods were showing me I'm totally supported as a gay person, which is important. So if you're gay or trans or anything, know that they're all fighting over who gets the gay flags and the trans flags and the pink neon triangle to show that we're welcome and we're accepted. And it meant a lot to me, even tier wanted stuff. And I'm like, this is why I think at this point, sometimes I wonder, do I talk to gods or do I make them all up in my head? But with Loki, I knew. Loki loves the gay community, so I felt safe with him. But I said to Odin, I said, that's another sticking point. You try to show love, but I don't think you know what the hell you're talking about when it comes to gay people. Freyr and Freya I trust, and Loki I trust, but like for the rest of them, it's like you don't know. There's no gay mythos for the rest of them, where even though we don't have a gay mythos for Freyr and Freya and Loki, but we have modern experience where they're very protective and very loving. Now there are gay people that serve all the gods, so don't get nervous. But I told Odin, I said, I just don't you attract too many homophobic people. I said that's honestly always been a sticking point with me. And I said I love you very deeply, but I don't feel safe with you. So I don't know. Maybe Odin will be here, maybe he won't. He didn't fulfill any of his promises, so I don't think he will. He has a bad problem with me with going back on his promises, and apparently people that work with him for a long time will say, he can. You have to make sure he sticks to his promises. So it's like, I told him, I said, I can trust Loki to keep his word. And I can trust Loki to tell me the truth. I said, your damn problem is you lying. You don't lie well. And maybe that's a gift from Loki. Loki's like, here's a bullshit meter. You need this talking to my brother. So, yeah, it's, you almost want to keep him around because he is Odin, but I don't want to be dishonest and keep him just because he's Odin. I do love him very deeply, but I'm like, the more intolerance and shit I see going on in the world, and the more heathen groups I see, like these groups, and these are groups with rainbow shit all over the place, and they still had homophobic members. It's like, I don't think we're a good fit. I'm sorry, Odin, but this is what you attract. I don't. I don't. And I don't want any gay person that works with Odin to think that I'm bad mouthing him or I don't love him. But this is not like it's the first obstacle we've run into over the years. We found it very hard to work together because I always have that certain lack of trust with him. Loki, I would trust him. If Loki said walk through a fire, I'd be like, okay. At first, I wait, what? But then once he was like, oh, go ahead, I go, okay. Then probably I would catch on fire and be running around screaming. Loki would go, oh my god, I can't believe you did it. But you know what I mean. We would trust Loki. I trust Loki with my life, but Odin, I don't know, man. So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.